Methods of instruction under Reconstructionism. In other words, how should teachers who believe in this philosophy be teaching in their classroom? The first important thing is stressing individual freedom. No two students are the same. All students are different, and therefore, how do you deal with 30 individual students in your classroom? Not one group of 30 now. So, this teacher has ideas and ways and means of promoting student learning through the individuality of each student. The teacher sees 30 independent students, does not see a group, and because of that, the students learn because they learn in their own unique manner. They learn what they want, and this brings us to the second point. Empowering students to make choices about what and how they will learn. Instead of the teacher saying, for example, the literature class, and it's easier to do in some subjects than it is in others, and that's why I chose literature. You have an English reader, there are 15 stories in there. You don't have to read the stories 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in sequential order. We did story 1. Now, what is the next story that the class would like to do? Well, maybe the class votes and you get story 12. And there is no harm in doing story 12 after you've done story 1 instead of story 2. So you empower students, you give them the options of making decisions for themselves. What do you want to study next? Now, to do something like this in math may be difficult because math is a cumulative subject. You have to know the previous stuff before you can go on to the next stuff. So in math, you may have to go in the sequential order of the textbook. But where it can be done in geography, it can be done in history, it can be done in the sciences. Who says you have to study electricity before magnetism, or you have to study the cell before you study the animal kingdom, and so on? So take your choice. Allow students to decide what they want to study at a particular time, provided, of course, you finish the curriculum within the allotted time span of an academic year. Buber's has the I-thou approach, where the student and the teacher learn cooperatively from each other in a non-traditional, non-threatening friendship. In other words, the teacher is also a student. You learn from your students as your students learn from you. So it's I will tell you, then we will do it together, and then it is thou, then it is you. You have to do things independently at some point. So what begins with I, with me giving you the background, leads into we doing it together with my help, and then you on your own, independently, without the teacher's help. Because that is when learning takes place. That is when students receive an education. If the student can only do what the teacher has said or what the teacher has taught, then unfortunately the student is getting a training. He is not getting an education. And unless our students get an education instead of training, will their lives be better? Now, how does that happen? That happens through questions, generating activities, and working together. The teacher does not assume that the student knows nothing and I know everything. The teacher works with the students, not for the students. You have to work with your students if you want something like this to be successful. If you want students to understand that you as the teacher are also part of their group, you are also in the learning mode, I think they will learn better from us teachers than if we say you are the learners and I am the instructor. Then learning may not happen as well as it would if we were learning together with each other. Educational methods which help teacher in rediscovering the excitement of learning and opening up a whole new world of possibilities for students. The key word that I see here is rediscovering. Who has to rediscover? The teacher. Because unfortunately, we teachers have forgotten what the excitement, the interest, the joy of teaching and learning is. So we have to rediscover that. We have to find that and then translate that to our students. Only when our students enjoy their learning experiences, because we teachers enjoy our teaching experiences, will learning be actually happening. Students become more articulate and capable of comprehension and self-expression with the help of teachers' approach. What this does is, if you allow students to talk and interact with you, comprehension, understanding becomes better, because now you're having a dialogue. It's not, I am saying, you keep quiet and listen. It's not a monologue. It's not a lecture. It's a dialogue. And in a dialogue, there is better comprehension of ideas, opinions, facts, figures, information, knowledge, skills, whatever. And when you have a dialogue, you're actually in the talking mode. You are discussing. Nobody has to agree with one another. I don't have to agree with what the student really says. The student doesn't have to agree really with what I say. So it is without that bar of I have to agree in the end, so I might as well agree now and cut the long story short. No, you don't have to be in agreement. You can still hold on to your views. I can hold on to my views, and we are still in the learning mode.